Well, hey there, Littermates. Welcome back to another episode, session, day of Boss Kitty Live. Every day is Boss Kitty Live for me, if I'm being honest. I hope you all are doing well. It's so good to see everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I'm very excited about today. We have so many things to go over. I know I say that every time, and it's true, legit. But like, we have some really exciting things, right? Like, we're going to talk about the box set that comes out this month. I'm going to show you guys the inspirations and color palettes that I'm using for the skeins and for the fiber. We're going to reveal the logo. It's not the full label, but it is the logo itself. And it is officially 5:30. So if you are a Patreon, a paid tier Patreon, our patron, then you will be receiving a notification right about now. And if you open it, it will take you to two different links. And those links will allow you to pre-order your box set. One of them has the patron exclusive Witch Hazel colorway in it. The other one does not. It works the same way the fibers, the dreamers, and you did. We don't have the colors yet to show you, but the idea is that you pre-order. Your yarn is dyed first, and then it gets shipped out on the 19th, the day after the release party. And the only reason we do it the day after is because I need at least one of those box sets, right, in each of those bases to show off to the public for the release party. So most of them might actually go out on the 19th, or the 18th rather, but they will all be out by the 19th. So that's how that works. You get it in your hands before anybody else does. Very exciting. It's a little easier than the fibers and the dreamers and you box set because it's not two of them. It's just one chunk. So very excited for you guys. Oh my gosh. I loved the fibers, the dreamers and you set that we did. It was a lot of fun. It was a little overwhelming. This one is a little more personal in a lot of ways for me. And I'm very excited to do something that's not bright and beautifully obnoxious, but is, warm and natural and vibrant and beautiful in all those ways. So that's going to be a very new thing for us. We haven't really done a set like that before. Everything's always been very pop culture influenced and just even the splatter set, like pop culture, right? So it was gritty, but it was like bright gritty because you're talking garish blood and things like that. I'm trying to think if we've ever done a set that was more like earthy, warm tones. Let's see, we had, nope. Nope. I'm like going down the list. So we had the Critical Role set, we had the Golden Girl set, we had the Lord of the Rings one. That, you know what? That one actually had some really nice earthy tones in it. So that one for sure. Other than that, we did the Saturday morning cartoon one. That definitely was not splatter set. The Storytime set, the 8-bit set, oh my God, there's so many. The Toilet Trouble, right? The Rocky Horror set, the Doctor Who set, the Fibers, Dreamers, and You set. I think that's all. And the Harry Potter, I'm sorry, the Sorting Scarf set. Yeah, I think of all of those, really the one for the Lord of the Rings had some nice, more natural tones in it. But even more than that one, I think that this is really just gonna shine in that category. So, let's see. Once we hit about 25 viewers, I think I'll show off the logo. We'll kind of stick around and do that first. But before we get there, we've had a lot of shows going and coming and going and so on and so forth. And our next show after the box set is in Vancouver, Washington at Hook and Needle. Very, very excited about it. Some of my favorite people work there. It should be a blast. And that is the second weekend in November. If you are local or local-ish, there is a fiber festival going on in Portland the first weekend in November called Sacred Sheep. I will be there. I'm very excited. I've never been. I'm super stoked to see what it's about. But oddly enough, I'm good. That's part of my vibe, baby. He's like, calm down. I'm like, I don't think you know me. This is like a 4. There were some softer colors in the Storytime set. There were softer colors, but they still weren't like really natural colors. I guess some of them were. Yeah, lots of pinks and pastels. There was a lot of pastels. Yeah, so Sacred Sheep is in November. I'm going to go check that out, see what it's about. But in the interim, I've had this lull until our yarn showed up, right? Which was yesterday. So I've been able to spin, I've been able to knit, I've been able to work on all these things that I haven't had a chance to work on. So I'm going to do my own show and tell real quickly and show you guys what I've been working on, what's almost finished and so on and so forth. And then I'm not sure what we're working on tonight because I have two projects, one I haven't started and one that I'm in a weird spot. But we'll get there. So first of all, I have to weave in a few more ends. But do you guys remember like 2 or 3 years ago, I was gifted a Shetland fleece. Her name, the sheep's name was Sarah. I've been gifted two of them, and the woman, Victoria, has a third for me. And Sarah passed, I believe, last year. So I decided to make Victoria a shawl out of Sarah's fleece. And so you guys watched me pick it. You watched me comb it and wash it and spin it a little bit. I just recently spun it. I carded it, all of that. And then I dyed it after I spun it. And I wasn't really excited about the color at first. It kind of turned out muddy, but I really like how it turned out, actually. I think it's perfect for her. And so I've made it into this shawl. I need to finish weaving in some ends, and then I need to block the heck out of it. And unfortunately, you can't see the squish factor because you can't touch it, right? But this is Sarah, you guys. This is after lots and lots of dedication and love. And I'm bringing it up here so you can kind of get an idea of the color. There's some greens and some reds and some browns in there. It is very, very, very elasticy and squishy, and it smells good. It feels good. There's enough lanolin in there that you know it's sheep, but not so much that it's making my hands oily. This might be the best from fleece to finished project that I've ever done. I'm very proud of it. There are lots of little nubbies in there. I love them, and I think she will too. And I wish I could show you guys the full, like, this thing it's going to be massive when it's done, like when it's blocked, but let's see if I can do it this way. Here you go. Oh, yeah. Does that show off kind of what it is? Like, it's just kind of an A-line shawl. My idea or my hope with it is that she can use it, when it gets cold and she's going out to work out in the farm area if she wants to get her eggs and things like that. And it's just, oh my gosh, I want to make one for myself because it's so squishy and so soft. Thank you, Moonbow. I'm really, really proud of this. And I love the edging on it. Check this edging out. It's just this really thick braid. It's like a crocheted braid, if I remember correctly. And it really just brings the whole thing together. Sorry, that was the backside. There we go. That tells me that this is the front. Yay. Anyway, so this is one piece. This has been finished for a bit, other than those final ends I need to weave in. And like I said, I need to block it. I think I've been avoiding the blocking just because it's the blocking. It sounds like The Shining, because it's going to be so massive. You can see some of those reds coming through right there. So there's that. Last week we were working on spinning up. So pretty warm. It's a great spin. Thank you, Ginger and Moonbow. Hello, Miss Monster. Abby, love earth tones. I force myself to work outside of earth tones. Abby, I feel you on that one. Leftmost, that's your speed. Hello, Samantha. Vicky, it's good to see you. So last week we were working on spinning up some Henson and Oz in Superfloof, right? I wanted to show it off, and I told you I was going to apply it with mithril. And I was a little unsure of it. I wasn't sure if it was going to make it dingy. So I finished spinning up both of the mithril and the Henson and Oz a few days ago. Let them sit for a bit and started applying them together. I have over 400 yards of yarn in my hand. You can't see it yet. It's amazing. I love it. I'm so happy I applied them together. It really softens up the Henson and Oz. When I tell you I have over 400 yards in my hand out of these 8 ounces, there's at least another half bobbin on each one of those bobbins out there. So I have at least another 400 plus yards of yarn waiting to be plied. I mean, more than that technically, it's 2 ply, but you get what I'm saying. It's a lot. Like, I got it pretty fine. So this does not do it justice because it is reflective because of the silk in it. And it's a little bright, but you can kind of see it's so pretty, you guys. It gives, that that vibe you get when you have like an elephant, that pink and that gray that go together. So that's what's going on, especially in these lighter places where I really wish you could see it. And then you have these almost celery green areas. Yeah, catastrophe. It turned out so much prettier than I thought it would. Lots of people, when I was telling them about this, they're like, that's interesting. We'll see how it goes. I That's why I did it. I've been trying really hard with our fibers to put colors that are oddball colors to put together just to see what it looks like, because it's really hard to guess, right? It's really hard to figure out what those are going to look like, because in your brain it might tell you one thing, but I did not expect this. I really expected it to make it dingy. I think part of the reason it didn't is because of the silk. So it's really shiny in those areas, and it's such a pale gray. It's just beautiful. There are streaks in the Henson and Oz that are just white, and so you end up with this really, really, really pale, pale gray, almost just white with a hint of gray to it. Thank you. I'm going to undo it so you guys can actually see it open, because it's too beautiful. Check that out. And like, this is some of those pale gray spots I was talking about. But then you get the light pink and the hot pink, and then the green is just lovely, like all that green right there. And you have, I know, foggy morning vibe indeed. You have those really long areas of color, because I didn't split it or anything. So you'll get that coming through, but then that gray is a constant through the whole thing. I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet. I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm going to have like 800 plus yards of this thing, probably almost 1,000. So there's a lot of possibilities out there. I have not done wraps per inch to find out what the what weight it is. My guess is going to be somewhere between a heavier fingering and a really light sport weight. But I am going to make something out of it as a display piece. Hopefully I'll have just a little bit left over to keep in, you know, a skein form. This is going to be skeined up so badly now because I don't want to get my makeup on it. So hopefully I'll have a little left over for that so that you can see both. Hopefully the skein won't look like that though. But anyway, super happy with how this turned out. Much more than I thought I would be. So if you're thinking about putting two colors together and you're like, oh, I really love these colors, but I'm unsure of what they're going to look like together, do not be afraid, because honestly, it's probably going to look just fine. I had messed with Larkspur and Craft Girl Summer together, and they looked amazing. They looked so amazing that JK actually purchased those two, and she did a spin with both of them. And I was like, man, I hope it's not just a fluke, but she did it and it looks just as great. So, I mean, obviously there are some times where you're like, no, those won't work, but even things that should clash, like clothing that you wouldn't normally put together, like when you do two different shades of green, let's say, right? That's kind of clashy. That's not going to clash when you're making yarn out of it, because it gives it shading. It's a different beast. You can do things like that and get away with it. Here's an example. So you could theoretically take, hold on. You could theoretically take Cynthia's lunchbox, which is one of our neon colors, right? And this is in floof. I meant to grab it in super floof. Hold on. I mean, I can grab it in whichever, but this will make more sense. So you could theoretically take it. Here it is in super floof. And you could put it with Bruiser. And while I wouldn't necessarily put these two colors together when they're solid next to each other, they're both purple. They both have some of the same tones in them. When you spin them together or when you ply them together, the Goonies, Cal. No, I was talking about spinning when I spun Craft Girl Summer and Larkspur together, and it looked so nice, and you ended up doing the same. But if you were to apply these together, instead of fighting against each other and clashing, they're actually going to complement each other, because they have enough similarities between them that this is just going to look like shading of this. It'll look really neat, actually. So that's an example right there. I'm talking spinning, yeah. Another one would be, let me see here, because I had an idea here and now I can't think of it. So this is a little safer, because I think you could do this with mohair and yarn and stuff, but spinning these two together would be epic, right? Like you've got that really dark green and then that light green. It's going to really pop on there. With that in mind, technically, This would work with Henson and Oz, or, you know, maybe not as well as the gray, but it would work. It might fight a little bit. I really liked the light with the Henson and Oz, but these would be beautiful together. You'd love to see Clockwork and Cold as Ice together. Oh my gosh, Ginger, yeah, that would be gorgeous because you've got those blue tones, right? So you really just have to think about the fact that you're not putting two colors together in blocks. You are combining two colors to kind of make a third color that is where they're both secondaries and they complement each other a lot of the time. Making a mess back here of all my fibers. Just put all these away real quickly or in places that work. There we go. Okay, so you're applying Angles of Eternity and Radish Souffle. I'm on the road, so can't photo, but wow, it's going to a whole different color than I thought it would. I hope in a good way. There's a lot of anchor colors you can use. Yeah, for sure. Ecto and Cynthia's lunchbox together are beautiful and perfect and always will be. And you can do that in yarn. You can do that in fiber. You can do, I mean, those two colors, they're complementary colors. They're meant to be mingled and they love each other. Let's see here. You have hit that 25 people mark. So I think it's time, you guys, to reveal the logo. If you're a patron, you've already seen it because, well, a paid tier patron, excuse me, because it was on the link that you guys got. But for those of you who haven't, oh man, I hope I got the right one. I think they're both the same. Without further ado, here is the logo for the tea set. There it is. Okay, so I got to actually bring this down just a little bit. There we go. I'll just kind of open it up a little more. My full screen. Nope, that doesn't work. You get the idea though. No, I can't add a full screen. Hold on. Escape. So, isn't it beautiful though? TK really just knocked it out of the park. It's so cute and sweet. He's just wonderful. I can make this a little bit bigger. Boop. And then I can bring it down. There we go. We'll just make this work for us. Fantastic. So we've turned Pounce into a teapot. It seemed, you know, it was really funny. He was having a difficult time coming up with a concept for this logo. And suddenly out of nowhere, he's like, oh, what am I thinking? Just turn him into a teapot. And I was like, yeah, that's actually a really great idea. There will be more things added to the label itself. We're still, you know, playing with the idea of having each label for each colorway have a different blurb on the side that talks about the plant for that colorway. So like we're doing, as an example, you guys all know about the patron exclusive colorway, which will be based off of witch hazel. So the side of that would be information about witch hazel, right? Like historically the medicinal and magical properties of witch hazel would be the idea behind that. So that might be the route we go, where I make those blurbs and then we print those out. It gets a little tricky. Well, it would get a little tricky if you guys were choosing your colors, but this is just a box set that comes as is. So I don't have to worry about having 20 of these and 50 of these and 60 of these. So I think I can make that work. That's my goal. That's my dream with this one. Now we need a Cheshire Cat on. Oh my gosh, right? A little Mad Hatter going on. Okay, so there is that. I'm very excited about it. I do have a few other show and tell pieces, and then we're going to get into color inspiration for the box set. I have already revealed those to the patrons as well a few days ago, but I thought it'd be really neat this time around. Instead of just, you know, you guys going blindly into this and wondering what the heck we're working on or what I'm doing, I thought it would be neat to show you the color palettes that I've come up with. And you guys always get to know the colors that we're going with, like what the inspiration behind them is, but I thought it would be neat to show you pictures and color palettes and where my brain goes. Kind of part of the process, right? So we'll do that here in a second. But first, when I was in Idaho at Three Loves, which lovely shop. Hello, Op, how are you? See a DK or a floof or both. I mean, it's a possibility, right? It's not 2 box sets, so that's a plus side. I purchased yarn for myself, which I never do. You guys know that. And I started the Pressed Flowers cardigan. And you guys got to see it in its infant stage. And technically I purchased yarn that was DK weight instead of sport weight, so I had to adjust here and there. I've got notes and notes and notes of the adjustments I've made. I had to restart it at one point in time. I got through the torso and had to restart the arms because I needed to go up a size the needles for the arms. They just weren't working out. I changed how I did the arms. Originally, I had the regular pattern all throughout the arm area and then changed it so there's less flowers in there. And I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out. I'm getting it settled up on here. It's not quite done yet. I'm just finishing up the second sleeve right now. And then I have to pick up and knit the button band, right? The collar and the button band. But with that in mind, this might be one of the quickest sweaters I've ever knit up because I've just been so in love with it. Oh, it's not even showing up. There you go. You can kind of see it. So it's hard to show off on the, in this small space, but this is how it looks. You can see that it's got this gradient that goes through it. The back looks a little different. It's just so lovely, you guys. And then the sleeves, instead of doing this really heavy pressed flower motif, which is what it calls for, I actually brought the sleeves down a lot. I toned them down a lot. I did random flowers in different spaces on here. They're usually in groups of 3 in some capacity on each sleeve, and they don't necessarily match. Like there's, I guess, yeah, groups of 3 right there. Like there's 3 up here at the top of the shoulder, but there's not 3 up here at the top of this shoulder, right? I tried to get them kind of in the same length part of the sweater. Like there's 3 down at the cuff, but they're in different spots. I wanted it to look a little more random. I've knit the pressed flowers hat and it was so much fun. It is a ton of fun. Like this waffle pattern that's in here is just so much fun to knit. And the way that it turns out with that gradient is just so neat. You knit a whole sweater and spun 2 bumps of floof. You are a superhero while working 2 jobs. I don't have much of a social life these days, you guys. So I'm finishing up the sleeve cuff right now. I am a little concerned that the sleeves might be too long once I block it, but I'm going to try to block the sleeves a little more this way. You know what? I think they'll be fine. They said to stop at 13 inches and I went 15, but my hope is that this just really poofs out because I love a poofy sleeve. Right now they're a great length, so they will get a little longer, but I think if I tighten this up, my cuff and do it that way instead of widen it, I think that'll help keep that up. We'll see how it goes though. But then I need to do the button band. I ordered buttons today. Very excited. Thank you, Elena. How are you? You like the creative non-samesies you've got on between the. Thank you, Ginger. I am a fan of random chaos, and the idea that I had behind it, because I had enough yarn. Honestly, I might run out of the brown because I did this, because it takes more brown in the sleeves to do it this way, and I'll just order some more. But the idea I had was that you had this body that was the pressed flowers, and then they got up into the sleeves and they just started falling off. I could have gone much more chaotic, and initially I was going to, but I was like, no, I actually really like the way this looks. So, and it kept my brain sane from trying to figure out how to be pattern yet chaos, right? Like that gets to be much. So we might work on this for a little bit today. We'll work on the sleeve definitely. I don't know if I want to pick up the button band live on the show because that's a lot of thought process. So that's that. As you guys all know, when we do a box set, we also do a release party, and our release party is going to be on the 18th of this month, which is a Friday. And that's when it'll be released to the public. So patrons, you can buy your box sets now, but it'll be released to the public on the 18th. And then the 18th and 19th is when we're sending out the pre-orders for our paid tier patrons. We'll send those out that day. So you guys will have them in your hot little hand like that. But we always do a party, right? It's a release party, and I always dress up because I don't really feel like I need an excuse to dress up, but if you give me one, and plus it's Halloween, so why wouldn't I? I'm so excited for you. Poofy sleeves are the best. So I have this corset. I have a ton of corsets, actually. I have a whole box full of corsets, but I have one corset in particular that is my favorite. It is not by the fancy company that I get most of my corsets from, which is Damsel in Distress. It is, I have no idea where it came from. I don't know who manufactured it. It's clearly a Ren Fair corset, and it was gifted to me by a friend. And it's my favorite. It's my Snow White corset is what a lot of people call it. And it has, It's the most versatile one I have. Whenever I've gained or lost weight, it still fits just because of the way it's set up. And it's so flattering. So let me show it off to you guys real quickly. So this is it right here. Super, super simple. It ties on the sides right here. It ties up here. And then it ties on the back as well. And it's got all of this boning in here. And it's really well made boning because it's never buckled on me. It is a higher cut corset, which normally I'm not a fan of. So it comes to a point right here, right? And my hips have a place to breathe, which is wonderful. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I really think that I will wear it like the fuck out of it this way, even afterwards. We're gonna fiber felt this. We're gonna needle felt it. I say that nervously, right? So my plan, because I'm doing a hedge witch costume for our release party, and that's also going to be my Halloween costume. My plan is to incorporate some over processed I love trash that I have, and then I've got it both in this, and then I've got a little bump of it in the super floof. But I really think this will work really well. I want to like make moss with this that's coming up off like the edging right here and maybe down in here. I've got some Princess of Mars that I can use for berries. I've got random colors here that can be used for flowers. I've got some tea time in here that can be used for some stuff. And then on top of all of that, I also have, you guys remember this handspun I made that looks like it's got like botanical weird shit in it? So I want to use this in it somehow. This will either be on the corset or it'll be on my witch's hat, which you guys saw that last year, right? The felted hat that I made. I'm going to remake it because it's too small. It took me a weekend to knit it up, and then you just have to felt it. But then I'm going to incorporate this. I don't know if I'm going to I-cord this and use it on the hat that way, or if I'm just going to take it and lightly needle felt it down into like coils and stuff, right? And I might do some of that on here as well. I just think it'll look neat. But I also have some loose fiber of this as well that has not been spun up. So this can be used within this to incorporate in the moss and in the just all of the green and the different plant things that are going on here. So this is my plan for the corset and for my hat. And then I have these skirts that I'm going to do some patchwork on. That'll look really neat, and maybe some embroidery on them. Oh, thank you. I'm really nervous. We might work on this tonight. We might not. I haven't decided because I'm very nervous. I don't want to fuck it up. I was more inclined to start with, hello, Jessie. Yay. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. So I was more inclined to start with the hat, but the hat, I found it, and it is much smaller than I remember it being. So I have to remake the hat. So I might have to start here, and I'm very nervous about it. So I just wanted to show this off to you guys, though. I love it. There's a picture of me. It was a drop spindle in this corset somewhere. I'll have to find it. Obviously, I have more clothing on than just the corset. You dirty-minded people, you. Okay. So I think that we should... You are so good at costuming. Costuming is like the one thing I can never come up with. I love costumes. I have loved costumes since I was a little kid. I've always loved just creating random costumes out of nothing. Elena can tell you, she used to be my roommate. We used to do stuff like that all the time. Irish moss, exactly. Oh, gives you anxiety. Thank you. Me too. I'm going to go ahead and head over to our Patreon account for a second, because I'm on here technically as if I were a paid member, which means I can pop in here and I can show you guys the inspiration for our box set. And we're going to start with peppermint. So we are going to have a peppermint skein or a peppermint fiber, 4 ounces of peppermint fiber in there. It's going to have, I thought about putting the flowers for peppermint in there. I love your costuming, Panda. Your stuff is so beautiful. But after a lot of debate and thought, I really just want those bright yellowy green tones to come through. So this is going to be one of the only colorways in the box that is one color. It'll be different shades of color. It might have some speckles on it of different shades of green, but it is going to be green, and it's going to be bright, not like obnoxious bright, but bright and happy and healthy the way that peppermint is. So that is the first colorway that we're doing. is peppermint, and that will be in the box set. Our next one is going to be valerian root. TK was a little unsure about this until I put the color palette together, and then I think he really liked it. Valerian root is actually the reason that peppermint will not have flowers, because they're too similar. The flowers are slightly different, but the palette gets really similar. So the root itself is different browns, and they're lovely browns. And I do have, you'll see down here, I do have a lovely kind of tan pecan brown in there that we'll be using, and I'm very excited about that. But I was excited to also get some of those healthy greens in there. And then the valerian is such a beautiful plant. It has these really light, pale, almost lavender flowers, but they start out as these deeper buds that are this pinkish purple color. And so I'm very excited to incorporate those in there. You have a question about the box set. Is it possible to get the 5th skein without glitter? Oh my, that is a great question. So the set itself comes with 4 skeins that are normal, and then one of the skeins is kitty glitter. I had not actually decided which colorway that's going to be yet, by the way. You guys can give me feedback on that. And then of course the Patreon exclusive colorway is also glitter. You could yes, let me get back to you on that, Vicki, because I think that would alter the let me get back to you on that, because it makes it a little tricky, because I have to dye them in batches of 4, and so it just becomes a little difficult. Like, my knee-jerk reaction is to tell you yes, but I don't know if that's possible. So let me get back to you tonight on it. I have to talk to my business partner. We got to figure that out. But that's a great question. So yeah, I'm really excited to incorporate those greens and purples with that like pecan brown in there. So we have valerian root and we have peppermint. Those are not the names of them, but we're also not going with the Latin names. I did look those up and they're ridiculous. Earl Grey and bergamot. I'm so stoked for this color. I'll be honest, it might be my favorite, and there's a very good chance this will be the kitty glitter color that is in the box set. The palette for this is amazing. It reminds me a lot of the Willy Wonka colorway that we did back when we did the Storytime box set, but even better. I can't believe I'm saying that. You have those really dark tones for the black tea itself, and then you've got the bergamot citrus in there and the flowers, the purple petals, and it's just, this is the only one that I went with it dried, because Earl Grey has so many different aspects in the tea itself, but it's such a popular tea. It's black tea with these other aspects in it, right? So I felt it was important to, and it's such a striking tea when it's dried up. So I felt it was important to incorporate it in its dried form instead of the living plant form. Call it a day. If I tried to do Tetra from Wind Waker one year, but I'm just so bad at these things. I am always willing to help you guys out with these. Oh my gosh. So yeah, super stoked about this colorway. You guys can thank Wisdom Queen for this one, because I was struggling to come up with a 5th colorway, and she was like, Earl Grey. I was like, shit, girl, you're right. You're just not big on glitter. If not feasible, I'll just live with it. No, Vicki, I totally understand it. We will talk. I will figure it out. We'll figure it out for sure and talk about it. Okay. So chamomile was the first one I came up with. It just seemed like the natural idea. It is a lovely, warm yet bright color, but not like obnoxious bright. Once again, right? You get those and those lovely greens in there, and I really do like that the green in here is a little less. It's a little more subdued, so it's toned down a little bit, like it's got some of that gold in it, and then you have that beautiful golden rod and that bright white, and then the kind of in between gold and yellow color between the two of them. Just because you see a color palette does not mean that every single color on that palette is going to be incorporated. It's going to be incorporated. It's just that those are the tones that I'm working with. So like this will have a lot of some white in it and some greens and some yellows for sure. It smells great. Thank you. Hi, Bubbles. How are you? Next up, oh my God, this was the one I was going to make the kitty glitter color, and it still might. I don't know yet. Hibiscus. Also felt like this was a given. I will tell you, though, that this is the one I had the hardest time creating the palette for, because there were so many different options. Hibiscus flowers themselves, they're so versatile versus the pods, right? The pods are that really bright, just magical red magenta color that we're so used to with almost fuchsia, right? that you're so used to with the tea itself. And that's what's down here. But the flower themselves, they're beautiful. They're this beautiful pale pink with this kind of beige pink that happens in it that you can see at the edges of these. And then in the middle, you've got that really vibrant, deep reddish fuchsia color again. And then orange. There's orange in there and there's brown. And I just ran out of space. So I have color palettes that are this way. I have color palettes that have that really pale kind of sagey green for the leaves in there. I have color palettes for this that had orange and brown in it. And I finally decided that of our colors, this is the one that I wanted to kind of feel gradient-esque, especially in the fiber. I think that that'll be really neat. So we went more with the red tones, from the burgundy into that really fuchsia bright red, into the kind of grayish pink, into the pale pink. And I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out, but it did take a lot of work. I love hibiscus too. It's the flavor is so bright. It's just such a wonderful tea. And then our final colorway is the patron exclusive colorway, and that is witch hazel, which I'm so excited that you guys picked this one. You guys have to know that it was a dead tie between witch hazel and rose hips for most of this vote. In fact, I think witch hazel won by 1 vote, and I almost swapped out one of the other colorways for rose hips because I felt so bad about it, but I couldn't pick one, so I didn't. I think this was the right choice, though. I love that this is so primarily just those burned oranges and golds and yellows. And then you have that really dark, deep pecan brown in there. Not the lighter pecan, but like really dark. In fact, I could probably go darker and might than what's showing on here. Because if you look at witch hazel bark, it's very dark. And I also just love this picture. So you don't want to get timed out. I misread that. You want to begin to rub your skin with broom. I almost put you in timeout. That is amazing. So those are the colorways that we chose. Let's see. You can kind of see them all down here, right? At least most of them. Yeah, all of them. Peppermint, valerian root, Earl Grey, chamomile, hibiscus, and then, of course, witch hazel. I'm very, very... If you can use a dye option for rusty rose color. I was told those red hibiscus bugs, yes, you can use hibiscus as a natural dye. So we don't. That's a great point, actually. Let's talk about that, because we're talking about creating a set of yarn or fiber that is based off of these natural plants, but I will not be using natural dyes. So we use acid dyes at Boss Kitty. We do not use natural dyes, mostly just because... For one thing, the consistency in the color is never quite the same. You can't get that consistency that we can generally get with acid dyes. And honestly, even with acid dyes, there is always something there's always the possibility it's not going to be the same. We just had somebody actually reach out and say, hey, this yarn that I just got does not match this thing I was working on, and it's way off. What can we do about it? And I'm dyeing some new up for them, sending them a picture, and we're swapping, because that's the name of the game. It happens. Especially when it's really off like that. But natural dyes even more so. And then the what is it called? Mortal? I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about, though. The composite that's needed, the medium that's needed to activate natural dyes, it's very expensive to find something that's not dangerous. Back in the day, they used to use mercury. So, there's that. I guess I could find some old school thermometers and just break them and hope for the best. Pigment matters. It really does. You want to roll around in the witch hazel tones like a pile of leaves. Same. A mordant. There we go. I was so close. Mordant. So close. Oh my God. You know what? For me, that's a win. I'll take it. Like, seriously, that was good. But yeah, so it's about the fact that they're not consistent. It's dangerous to dye with natural dyes a lot of the time. It takes much longer to dye with natural dyes. And I wouldn't want to do it in the small space that we dye in. Mad Hatter vibes for sure. So we stick with the acid dyes. Acid dyes, contrary to the name, will not burn your skin. They are also toxic, obviously, to a degree. But they're, I mean, unless you're drinking them, don't drink the dye juice, you guys. Come on. Um, they're really only toxic in their powder form, and that's if you inhale them. So as long as you're wearing a mask, as long as you're not doing it in your kitchen or you're really cleaning up in your kitchen, which is what I did for years, you're fine. We don't put a lot of dye down the drain. Um, we don't. So, but yeah, we just unfortunately using natural dyes is for a commercial business is not a realistic thing for us, at least. I know there are some businesses out there where that's what they do, and I think that's great. And I don't know what their setup is. I would love to find out because I think it's fascinating. I do too, crochet. Oh my god, it's so good. Dye equals forbidden tea. Oh my god, that's great. Actually, that's really, really great. So I'm going to show off the logo one last time, just for those of you who did not see it, because I'm so proud of TK and it's such a great logo. So we'll just show that off again real quickly. Ta-da! Wait, it's not showing. Ta-da! Damn it. Ta-da! There it is. We've got Pounce as a teapot. It's wonderful. There will be more added to it as the labels are created, but this is the structure of the logo for the tea set box set is Pounce as a teapot. And what an adorable teapot she makes, right? I'm just amazed that it took us this long to figure out that we could do that. It's fantastic. I am so happy with how it turned out. Pounce is always the cutest. It doesn't matter what you turn her into. She's just so stinking cute. We're oogling your logo. Gracie May. Well, she won't stay up here, and I have fiber on the table, so I can't hold her. But if you want to bring her off and show her off for a moment, that is perfectly fine. Hi, baby. Hi. Little Miss Gracie May, how are you? Oh, my goodness. If you haven't met Gracie, which I can't imagine any of you haven't, this is her. This is my sweet little bitchy girl. She's a diva. She knows that she is as pretty as she is. Everybody gives her attention. You guys, look how big these paws are. Like, she's just gotten huge. And apparently she was outside of the room howling because I wasn't paying any attention to her. She's like, just don't even. You're embarrassing me. She's got a little zit on her chin. Mom, don't embarrass me. You love her so much. I know I do too. I love you, baby girl. Nope. I don't get no lovins. Get her out of here. So much fiber and fur. Let's see. I need that in a sticker or a pin. Wait, what do you need in a sticker or a pin? Oh, the tea set. Oh, yeah. You know what? I should talk to TK. We have all those old logos. I should talk to him about incorporating those into like a set of stickers. That would be really neat, right? Like if we did some die cut stickers and we sold them as a set, the box set sticker set. I don't know. Just my brain's always thinking. We'll think about it. Presentation of a baby. I know her eyes every time they get me, and she has such an expressive face. It's just, I love her. I love her so much. Okay, do you guys actually want to craft? I hear that is a thing that you're supposed to do on a craft show. I don't know if that's a legit thing, but I feel like maybe we should. So here's the question. Did I bring it up here or did I leave it? Hold on one second. Biscuits. I might have left it over there, unless it's over here. I'm thinking out loud, my loves. I'm so sorry. I think I left the needle felting pad over there. So I might answer my own question as to whether or not we're going to work on that by the fact that I left the pad somewhere else. So we're going to work on my sweater, I think, for a little bit at least. Oopsie. You guys don't want to see that. There we go. Commemorative Pounce Through the Ages sticker set. He would have to change. So I know TK. He would adjust the old logos so that they have the updated eyes for Pounce. But other than that, we have all the OG logos. I'm almost 90% sure of that. So it is certainly a possibility. I should talk to him about it. The stickers we have right now, we just give out. at events and stuff, which is great. It's funny though, because people always think they're for sale and they're very, oh, can I have one of these really? And I'm like, yes, just take a damn sticker. Please take a damn sticker. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Crochet. Yes, please get your stuff into show and tell, my dears. It is up. I want to see what you guys have been working on. So just a reminder, we've got our show tonight. Then we don't have a show next week, but that was the wrong button. Was it? No, it was the right button. Oh, Windows changed. Okay, so we have a show tonight. Next week, we are dark on shows. We will have a show Tuesday the 15th. And then we're going to have the early, or not the early, we'll have the release party of the box set on the 18th. So you guys will get a Tuesday and a Friday show that week. Then the following week on the 22nd, I'm going to be a busy duck. We will have our patron exclusive craft night. My apologies to our patrons. We did not have one of those in October or September rather, because of Oregon Flock and Fiber. It was crazy. But you guys have had a lot of content going on the patron page itself. I do have an article that was supposed to go out in September. Like I said, it's been crazy. So TK had, I think it got lost in translation for editing. So we're working on that. We should have that. You know what? We'll probably have that out next week during our dark week. So you guys will have an article next week. I believe it's on The American Dream. But I can't remember because I wrote it some time ago. Can I share the name of this pattern? Absolutely. It's called the Pressed Flowers Cardigan. There is a whole series of these pieces. There's the pressed, I'm just going to go find it for you guys. There's the pressed flowers cardigan. There's the pressed flowers pullover. There's the pressed flowers shawl. There's a hat. I'm sure if you look for it, there's a cod piece. I'm kidding. There's not. I was going to go a different route with that statement, and I figured cod piece was at least a little courteous of me. I'll let your guys' minds wander and figure out what it is you think I was going to say. So if I go to patterns, there we go. So we're at Ravelry right now. I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to type pressed flowers. There we go. Perfect. Yarn Pirate is on it. I'm just going to click that actually and see what happens. Oh, no. Back to YouTube, please. Don't do that. I wanted to change this one. Wait, no. What? Whatever. So we'll just go to Susie John's stuff because she has the whole entire set in here somewhere. But yes, it's a whole set of pressed flowers. Actually, we will actually click on this and say go to site because it's opening a new thing anyway. So here is, it's Amy Christoffers. Here's the pressed flowers cardigan. This is what I'm working on right now. You can see what it's supposed to look like in the sleeves, which is not what I did. I also don't have quite as much. They call for, I think it's 6 inches of positive ease. I did not go that route. I think I have like 4 inches of positive. I might though, once it's blocked, who knows? And I think mine might be a little bit longer than this. Well, her sleeves are long. Like, okay, I feel better about my sleeves now. So here's the cardigan. If I come up to Savory Knitting, here's the pressed flowers shawl. And I don't know if this is what started the pressed flowers craze, but I think it might be. Here it is just in 2 really base colors. You've got, this is more of a gradient. So it's a very large shawl. It's really beautiful. And don't be afraid to do this pattern just because it's color work and it's knit flat, because it's not the type of color work you think it is. Let's see. If I come up here, I sort by name. And we'll go down to P for pressed. Next page. We'll get there eventually. LMNO P. The poly cardigan's really great too. I'll show that off to you guys here in a second. Okay, pressed. So pressed flowers, and then there's the cardigan. There's a cowl, so you can try it in the cowl phase. Huge, right? Pressed flowers pasties to go with your cod piece. Amazing. Snip that pressed flower. It's amazing. Okay, So there's a hat. I know a lot of people who have made the hat and absolutely love it. It's not a super slouch hat, but it's also not, a beanie. So it's really nice. And I love the rib stitch on it. I like a hat that's got a really nice long section for rib stitch or wide section for rib stitch. And the other thing about this is really fascinating. So I don't know about okay, so the cardigan technically takes sport weight. The shawl takes DK weight. The cowl takes DK weight. The hat takes sport weight. So the hat and the cardigan both take sport weight. I believe the pullover, which I am in love with, by the way, takes DK weight. So I almost did the pullover instead of the cardigan. It's just so pretty. It takes significantly more yarn. They want you to have much more positive ease. I think it's 12 to 13 inches of positive ease. But honestly, they also tell you it works just as well with 2 to 3 inches of ease. I love the sleeves on it. Check this out. Like, I might make this again and I might do the pullover, which is crazy because why would I have two of the same thing? But I do it in different colors, you guys. Come on. You can do socks. Like, clearly she was like, I have a thing that's working. I think, we're going to just do it. And it does. It works. Like, this has 82 projects. The vest does. It's probably their least popular of all these items. Also, I think the vest might have, no, it doesn't. I was like, does the vest have mohair? But I love the edging on this. This is really pretty. So yeah, this takes, it does have lace and laces sport. So yes, it does look like maybe they're holding some mohair. Mohair is in there. Ooh, I was right. So lots of options there. A pullover. The pullover is gorgeous. But my friend Emily and I were looking at the pullover because she saw mine. She's like, oh, this is great. I want the pullover. We dropped the size down so that she had 4 or 5 inches of positive ease. And the amount of yarn she needed, she's like, what? And I was like, I know that's a lot. So let's maybe not. So we looked at a few other things instead. Even this one, it's the waffle on here. This right here, it's so squishy, you guys, but it does take up what it is that you lose a lot of length with this waffle stitch because you're doing a knit round and then a purl round. So it's making a garter technically, but it's making a garter because there's also slip stitches in there. It's not making a garter, but it is technically making a garter. So you end up losing length the way that you would with a garter stitch, right? So that's what's going on there. When you knit this thing, you're knitting it flat. Like I said, you're not changing colors part of the way through. So I'm not coming here and then swapping out my brown for my colored color, right? What's happening is I'm doing one row in brown all the way across. Like every stitch except for the flower stitches get knit or purled. And then when you come to the flower stitches, you slip those. So those stitches will get slipped every 2 rows twice. So you'll knit them for 2 rows, then slip them for 2 rows. That's how those work. The rest of these stitches, which make this box up here, this waffle stitch, is so you knit and then you do purl or you knit and knit the back, whatever it is you're doing. You knit 2 rows of the brown or your main color. And then the next row you bring in your color, your secondary color, your color, and you knit, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip. And that makes this kind of boxed basket weave look. And then you do the same on the back. So every other stitch for the brown in here, the main color, is also slipped. So you're not using quite as much yarn, but you're losing a lot of length in yarn due to the type of stitch it is. That's what's going on. But what that means is that you're not having to do floats or anything like that. You don't have to worry about, you have to worry about tension a little bit. The most of a float you do is 3 stitches like this right here. You can see. Okay. And it doesn't really pucker. You just keep it loosey-goosey. This will block out. They look a little funky initially, but they will block out. So it's not, when I say it's not real color work, you're still working with 2 different colors. It's a form of color work, but it's not color work the way that you're thinking of color work. You're basically knitting a double sweater with the color work. Exactly. Sort of, because you're not carrying the color across at the same time. You're not carrying both yarns. You're doing one color across and back, then you're picking up the next yarn and going one color across and back, which I think is what you do with the tessellated, isn't it? Because it's the same type of, It's creating the same type of material, I think. But I haven't made the tessellated. Oh, thank you. Wisdom Queen gifted these to me. She got these from Always Be Kind, which is a wonderful yarn company that you should all check out. They're little kitties with hearts in their hands. I keep thinking when I look at them, just briefly for a moment, that they're little kitties with medieval shields in their hand, but they're hearts. Anyway, Joji just released a new sweater, and I need to cast it on immediately. Her stuff is so good. You should post it and show and tell so I can see what it looks like. Which is nice. Oh, I haven't done. Oh, I have done that. So with the mosaic, with the crochet, right? Are you talking about crochet or are you talking about knitting? Is that what this is considered? Really? I guess it's kind of like the crochet version, except for with the crochet, you're actually taking the yarn all the way across. Like, I can't think. You guys almost sounds like a brioche technique, kind of, but not as confusing as brioche. Like brioche, you have to go across one way, then come back to the beginning, pick up your second color, go across. It's super confusing. This is just one. It's like you're doing stripes, right? Like this would look like stripes if it weren't for the slipped stitches. I wish I was still working on the color work section so you could see what I'm talking about. But technically, this would be striped, right? Colored brown, colored brown, colored brown, colored brown. This would be striped if I didn't have these lines of brown in here, and the lines of brown that are going vertical are happening because I'm slipping those stitches. So they're getting pulled up two rows. It's the same as the tessellated. Oh, that's totally fine. I'll have to look it up. Shields protect the hearts. Exactly, right? But yeah, I think that it's that you're losing a ton of length is what's happening. And it's fine. I mean, I'm not a petite girl, so I know that sweaters are going to take me a little more yarn anyway. And it's still, truthfully, even with the extra yarn, did not cost me an arm and a leg. I think I paid in total for this yarn, because the brown was actually fairly inexpensive. I paid a little over $160 for a sweater. Like, I think that's fantastic. I think that's actually a great deal. The other color, the actual gradient, I don't have the label on me right now. It is not, somebody here will remember it because I don't at the moment. It is not Spin Cycle, which is what most of these have been made with, and that can get a little spendy. Spin Cycle yarn is lovely, but it can get spendy, right? It's 50 grams for $30, I think. Whereas this is 100 grams for $30, so it's like half the price. Spin Cycle Sport, this is DK. I had to adjust because DK, but it worked out for me. It worked out just fine, without problem. Meant I went down a few sizes, which also was fine. It is hard though. When you spend a whole entire sweater slipping every other stitch, when you get into like the rib stitch or something like this, suddenly you want to slip stitches and you're not supposed to. So every now and then I have to stop and go, stop slipping those stitches. It's a rib stitch. Don't do that. So here, I'll show you guys. This is what I have. So this is what I ended up having left of the colored yarn, the gradient. I have a fair amount of this left, honestly. I don't know. I think I'll probably make fingerless gloves or something out of it. I think it'll be really pretty. Maybe a hat. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a pressed flowers hat. This is what I have left of the brown. And I am a little concerned. Like I said, I've got to finish this sleeve up, which I'm almost done with. But then I have to do the buttonhole rib stitch, right? Which goes all the way the length of the sweater. 'Cause it goes around my neck. It goes around each side of the cardigan. So I don't know if I'm going to have enough, but it's a commercial yarn. It's not an indie dyed yarn, really. I know where I can get it because I can order it through Three Loves online, and it'll just be what it is. I mean, honestly, even if the dye lot was off slightly, it's the buttonholes. Like it's the rib stitch, so it's a different section of the sweater. So if it's off a little bit, it doesn't look too terrible usually because you just think it's a trick of your eye because it's a different stitch. Samantha, that's fantastic. Congratulations. Okay, I want to make sure. And I'm watching the time because I know that we need to do stretches here in probably about 15 minutes. Even though I just started crafting. It's hard work showing off colors to you guys. Oh, I kind of really want to do that felting, but I don't know where I put my felting mat. I think it's over there. It's probably for the best because honestly, that's a thing where if I fuck it up, I fuck it up. I guess I could probably get it off, maybe. I mean, it's happening. I'm going to put it on there, so I don't know why I'm stressing over it. Oh my gosh, that would be super cute crocheted. Yeah, this has been a pattern. So she's had this pattern for at least 2 years now, because I remember seeing a few people who had it at Oregon Flock and Fiber last year. And I got really excited about it, but I was like, man, I don't know. It wasn't something I really wanted to make in my yarn. Because of the nature of superwash merino is to drape a little bit, right? Like it stretches a little. It's not super stretchy. Like you can still make a sweater out of our DK. I have made plenty. You guys have seen them. And they wear just fine. But it does have a little bit of stretch to it. It's not quite as bouncy. Whereas a nice wool, like a BFL or an Icelandic or something like that, is going to have a little more bounce to it. It doesn't weight. The weight isn't it doesn't drape as much. And I really didn't want the stretch. So I didn't want to go with a merino. And honestly, I didn't want to go with solid colors. I really wanted this gradient. If I had any of our speckled gradients and like DK weight, I might have tried it anyway. And it's like maybe like in a hat or something. Just because I think the speckled gradients would look really neat. And honestly, I might do that in a hat. I might just take a random skein of DK weight yarn and torture myself in making a speckled gradient out of it and making myself a hat. Who knows? That's a story for another day. Not today. Darn Satans. Not today. Maybe today. So I would love to know what your guys' plans are for the spooky season. Are you guys doing any Halloween shenanigans? Anybody dressing up? What are your kids going to be this year? Like, this is my favorite time of year. I know it's a lot of your guys' favorite time of year. It's the opening for, the chaos season of holidays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, sorry. Give me 1 second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 8 more rows to do. But I would love to know what your guys' plans are. So obviously, I'm do my woodland witch costume. I'm also putting together some Halloween events at work. I work in a department of revenue in an area where people have to be in the office. We're kind of the exception that proves the rule, right? Like there's not a lot of people who work in the office anymore for the state of Oregon. I work in the processing center, so we deal with all the mail that comes in and everything, and you really do need to have hands-on people there to process that. So I guess they haven't. This is my first year there in that department, and I have been informed that they have not really done anything festive for the holiday, for Halloween or for anything else. And so I talked to the mailroom manager and I was like, hey, do you mind if I do this thing and I steal some of your people to put together a committee? And he's like, no, I think it's great. So that's what we're doing. A lot of the people in that department, though, are older people, very set in their ways. Some of them are not very nice. I mean, they're nice, but, they're a little cranky. So I don't know if they'll participate or not. We're kind of putting some feelers out first to see what people are willing to participate in and what they're not. Because we came up with a bunch of ideas yesterday. Like, we talked about doing a potluck, obviously, a scavenger hunt, a murder mystery, costume contest, decorating pumpkins, like all the regular stuff that you do, right? And so instead of just choosing some stuff, we made a list and we sent out an email and then we took the list around to the mailroom because they're not computer savvy really, to see what people were interested in and what they weren't. So we'll go back over that list next week, I think, to figure out what were the most popular ideas, and then we'll move forward with those. I suspect we'll end up doing a potluck for sure, because who doesn't like food? I have seen Agatha. I'm all caught up on Agatha. Absolutely love it. It's fantastic. The first episode I felt was a little slow starting, but I understood that they were set. You know, it's character development. You had to tell people where she was now and what she was doing and set the story. So I get that. Pressed flow. Going to Portland Center Stage's production of Sweeney Todd. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. You'll have to tell me how it is. The last live production of Sweeney Todd I saw was a train wreck. So I hope this is better. Wee One wants to be a crocodile and said I could be a fish. That's amazing. I'm so glad she allowed you to be a fish. Your knitting group does an annual spoopy movie night where we traditionally suggest watching Lost Boys and then end up watching a different movie. We may also do a Halloween themed D&D one. Do it. So I think half my D&D team is going to be out for Halloween. They'll be in Japan, actually, which is fine. So I think the other half we're talking about doing a Brindlewood Bay one shot, which is basically like Golden Girls meets Murder, She Wrote. You get to play little old ladies that like to investigate crimes. So I think we're going to do that on the 26th. I think that was the date. Because she gets to pick yours too. I mean, I feel like that's how it works when you're that age. Yeah. Sweeney Todd, maybe this year's spoopy movie. Okay, I'm going to say it. I hate the Tim Burton Sweeney Todd. Almost as much as I hate the Tim Burton Willy Wonka. And almost as much as I hate the Tim Burton Dark Shadows. It's off my chest now. It's nothing against anybody in the movie. It's nothing against Tim Burton. It's that I grew up watching the live London cast of Sweeney Todd with Angela Lansbury with fake, nasty stage blood from the time that I was 7. So I'm just a little bratty snob, and you can never tell me any differently. But visually, it's a beautiful movie. Preach. All 3 of those. I know, right? My braces are Octoberific. Look, you can't really tell. They're orange and black, which they'll get changed before Halloween, but they will be orange and black for the majority of October. Lansbury forever. Although, who sent that to me and what did they send me? Was it Emma Thompson? I think did a version of Sweeney Todd, and she was fabulous. Like, really, really good. I'll see if I can find the clip and I'll post it in Discord because my friend Charlie sent it to me and I was like, why are you gonna do this to me? Like, Angela's my goddess. What are you doing? And then I was like, oh shit, this is actually really, really good. So I'll find that. I'll post it. You'll love it. I promise. Do we have a show next week? We do not have a show next week, but we do have a show the following Tuesday and then also one on the 18th for the release party. So I couldn't get through Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it was creepy, right? Like, he was just off-putting, and I don't feel like Willy Wonka should be that way. I couldn't get through Dark Shadows either, but that's okay. Doing a candy handout for the kiddos in the area that we can show up, dressing up as the Spider Queen. Love it. Streaming Phasma in VR after 10 p.m. That sounds like quite the night. I love it. You have no preconceptions. That is perfectly fine. So, Miss Monster, after you've watched the Tim Burton version, and I will wait until after then, let me know, and I will send you a link to the Angela Lansbury version because it's amazing. However, the young woman who plays Joanna, who is the ingenue, if you will, kind of, she's an idiot. The young woman who plays her, I don't know if she decided to do this as a character choice or if this is just how she sings as a high soprano. Whenever she hits a high note, she crosses her eyes. So she'll hit that high note and make this face. It's the most ridiculous, comical thing I've ever seen. And honestly, it adds to the character because she's supposed to be a ditz to some degree. But it's a lot. It's a lot. She's a lot. Other than that, though, it's my favorite of all time. I remember when I was in 3rd grade, we were supposed to bring in our favorite movie to share with the class. This is very Jersey Girl of me, before it came out. And all I wanted to do was bring in our VHS version of Sweeney Todd. And my mother was like, you can't. You can't. You absolutely cannot bring that movie in to show your classmates. I will get in trouble. Um, and I mean, that's fine. Whatever. I think I did anyway. I think we talked to my teacher about it, and she agreed that I could. Like, she was very impressed that that's what I wanted to bring in. But she agreed that I could if we showed off, like, I had to show off a specific scene. It couldn't be any of the grotesque scenes or anything that implied that they were, doing what they do with pies. His teeth, I know his teeth so creepy in that movie. Gene Wilder was also creepy, but in a nice way. It was a different type of creepy. Like super duper different type of creepy. Yes, he was creepy, but he wasn't disturbed creepy. Like where you felt comfortable sending your kids off with him, sort of. Um, he was an oddball. He didn't look like he was a serial killer. That's it. Didn't look like a serial killer. Assuming we don't go with something else. The latest Ghostbusters is also in the running. I haven't seen any of the new Ghostbusters after the one with the all women's cast, which I really wanted to like. I really did because I love that entire cast, but that movie fell short for me. It just was flat. Um, I don't know why, because they all work so well together, but it's a bummer. I just have not had a chance to see the new ones. And amidst that's part of it is the voice. Trying to read, sorry. Reading is fundamental, guys. That's what I've been told, at least. You have Anne of Green Gables with Anne and Diana singing. I've never seen Anne of Green Gables. Any of them. None of them. I told April that a few weeks ago. She made me watch part of, I don't know which version, but we watched part of it. And it was good. I enjoyed it. We didn't get through all of it because we had to get to game, but yeah, I've never watched it. Yes, he did. Exactly. That's it right there, Elena. He felt like he was creepy the way that he was supposed to be creepy in the books, right? And they are, Roald Dahl's books are creepy. We've talked about this. We talked about this when we did the Storytime box set, about the fact that a lot of his books and a lot of the stuff that was in them really weren't kid, like they shouldn't have been made for kids. The Witches is a terrifying story, like really, really scary and awful and terrifying. And I love it. And I'm so happy that it is what it is. Never watched one of the adaptations. I've never read the book either. Oh my gosh, Panda's going to disown me. My son and I went and saw the second Beetlejuice and it was terrible in my opinion. So Beetlejuice, I've heard mixed reviews on. I've heard people either really, really, really like it or people are not happy with it. And I think that that's usually pretty standard for a sequel, especially a sequel so far away from the original. I feel like that's a very tricky move there. Like, I don't know. You okay, so you do a sequel right after a movie. That's not great either, right? Because it just feels like you're trying to just, I don't know, milk the hell out of that franchise. You do a sequel 20, 30, 40 years after the original. That's difficult because if it's been a successful movie, it's hit this level of nostalgia that is untouchable for people. And quite frankly, you really can't create that magic again to that degree, because the truth is that magic was not there originally either. It's just that people have in their mind reminisced and remembered it to be that magical. Other examples of this, Hocus Pocus, Dark Crystal, right? And those have secondary shows as well, or movies. The Dark Crystal show that they did was actually very, very, very good. However, failed. Like, I don't know if it failed because of viewers or if it failed because Netflix was like, this is too expensive, we're not doing it. But they only had one season. Hocus Pocus 2, I loved it. I thought the sequel was fantastic. I know a lot of people who disliked it. They felt like it was juvenile, which blew my mind away because it's a kids movie. Like, the original was a kids movie. You think it's juvenile because it's a tween movie. You watched it probably when you were 12 or 11 or 13, right? Like you or younger. You watched it as a kid. You like it now because it's nostalgic for you. It's something that you enjoyed as a child. If you were to watch it for the first time, to have never seen it before, guess what? It's juvenile. That's what it's supposed to be. I don't think that the second one was any less than the first one was. I just think that the people who, and if I'm digging on anybody in here, don't take it personally. I just think that the people who watched it with this expectation to have the same feeling that they had when they watched the first one is forgetting the fact that they probably wouldn't have had that feeling if they watched it as an adult. I went back and saw Dark Crystal in the theater years and years and years and years and years and years and years after it came out, right? But years and years and years ago, I think, did I go with you, Elena, actually? Maybe I did. I don't remember who I went with, but I think I was in my late 20s. I remember being disappointed. I remember watching it and going, this is not as awesome as I remember it being. And it's because I'm not a kid, and that wasn't a movie that I had watched over and over again like I had with Labyrinth. I have since. But so my mindset was a little different. If I watch Labyrinth in the theater, I know what I'm getting into and I freaking love it. But you have this expectation as a child that's up here, or down here rather, and down here feels like up here. And then as you get to be an adult, that changes. Anyway, that's it. I'm off my soapbox. I'll go back and read all these now. Ghostbusters Afterlife is very good in your opinion. I'll have to check it out. Really respected kids' abilities to deal with horror. I agree, Arm Pirate. I don't know. We made it through so many years of living together and never made you watch that because I never told you I hadn't. Read The Witches with different voices. My classmates were horrified. Oh my God, your teacher sounds like my third grade teacher. And my third grade teacher and my fifth grade teacher were my favorite teachers of all time. Hated kids. He wrote kids' books so kids might learn to not be such turds. Yep. It felt like a cash grab. That's how a lot of those are going to feel for sure. If something is a cult classic like Beetlejuice sequels are always really polarizing. Exactly. Like Dark Crystal, which is insane because it's the things happening before the movie because the movie was how exactly. The most honest, well, I think that the stuff with Dark Crystal actually happened after the movie because they were together. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've watched. I thought that all happened after the movie because both of the main characters were in it. Jem was in it and Kira was in it. Is that her name? And they were adults. They weren't children. But I'd have to go back and rewatch it. The most honest non-spoiler review of Beetlejuice 2. It's busy and could do with some streamlining. Thank you, Lillian. Anna Green Gables TV series with Megan Follows as Anne. Rings of Power. Oh, Rings of Power. Yeah. I haven't watched Rings of Power, but also I wasn't a fan of the Hobbit movies. I felt like those were really, really, really drawn out and unnecessary. Could have been one movie. Did anyone watch the Wes Anderson Roald Dahl shorts on Netflix? It's like Anderson Dahl. I didn't know he made any. What? I don't have Netflix either, and I refuse to get Netflix at the moment. But now I really, damn it. Book to have aged when it was a teen book. Exactly, JK. My niece and nephew went out with us and no one liked it. Oh, that's a bummer, Op. Melly, I never watched the first Hocus Pocus until the year the second one was released and actually liked the second movie more. And frankly, the Sanderson sisters are the heroes to me. Fuck those kids. You know what? I think that's what's interesting about that is that I think originally when they did the first movie, they were supposed to be the villains, right? But even kids really connected to the sisters and not so much your children like heroes and heroines. And so that's kind of how it turned into this thing where we idolized the Sanderson sisters and not the kids, which is great because why wouldn't you? So I think they really tried to lean into that with the second movie, and I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I'm going to watch it again this year. If any of you have not watched, what is it called? Werewolf by Night, I think, which is an old Marvel horror comic, and they turned it into a Halloween special last year or the year before that. It's on Disney Plus. It's amazing. Watch the black and white version. Do not watch the colored version, please. It's only like 90 minutes long. It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it. It's very old school spooky. I loved it. I watch it every year now. We have not done stretches yet, Samantha. Give me one sec. I am working on the pressed flowers cardigan. The gem was cleans at the end of the movie. The show has how it got broken in the first place. If it was pre the, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. Maybe I missed that part. I believe you guys though. I only love The Hobbit because it has Benedict Cumberbatch and Lee Pace. That's fair. That's fair. Good job, Samantha. You'll follow him anywhere. Okay, Samantha is right though, you guys. It's time for stretches.
It's time to stretch.
It's time to stretch. Okay, so we're gonna do a nice shoulder roll today. I don't want to get started in Hobbit or Rings of Power. That's kind of how I felt about the Wheel of Time series. If you've never, Elena will know this hate too. Wheel of Time series, if you've never read it before, it's a lot. I never finished it. I think I got to book 7 and Matt was roaming around in the desert. Maybe, I think it was Matt that was roaming around in the desert. And it's just pages upon pages of him walking and doing nothing. I was like, I'm done with this. But here's the thing about the Wheel of Time series. Before I get into the show, we're going to go the other way now. The books are like thousands of pages long. And they're written very well. There's a lot of detail in there. But it is 2/3 of each book is very slow, right? And so you're reading it and it's very slow. There's not a lot of action. There's a lot of character development. There's a lot of, you see a tower off in the distance in book 1. It doesn't come back up until like book 5, but all of book 5 might be surrounded about that tower, around that tower that you just saw. So you get through 2/3 of the book and you're like, oh my God, this is so long. But the last third of the book, and this is where he would get you, it's just action, action, action. And it's written well. And it's just really fast paced. And you're like, oh my God, what is happening? And it always ends on a fucking cliffhanger. I'm getting you guys all stressed out while we do stretches, right? And so you like run to the store to get the next book because you have to know what happened. And you do find out what happened in the next like 20 pages of the next book. And then you're back to slow until the last third of that book. Every single time. And I would fall for it every single time. So that's the first part. Let me just explain that first. You really like the Hobbit movies, but only saw 1 and 2 because it just lost interest by the time of the third. That's how I felt about it. Yeah. About LTR Tattoo, and I'm a big fan. I only like 12 versions of the books. The series was terrible. I finished it. Hobbit was my favorite book when I was a kid, so I was terribly disappointed with the movies. Aes Sedai, smoothing their skirts, tugging on their braids. Exactly. In fact, when I'm playing D&D with my friends and we're getting really into we're going to stretch our fingers out, getting really into our role playing, and we're going over the top with it, one of the others will look at you and be like, hey, are you smoothing your skirts? Are you tugging on your braid? And that's our way of going like, you're extra right now. So anyway, they, Amazon did a Wheel of Time series. I was super excited when I saw it came out. I'm 99% sure Jonathan Cumbie as Gilbert is my lifelong. And I'm watching this show and it's clear that they've changed some stuff. And I'm like, okay, sure. I can get with this, I guess. I don't know how you're going to fix this later, but whatever. And then there's some parts that you're like, yeah, I remember this. And then we got to the end of the first season. I was so confused because I did not remember a damn thing that they were doing, to the extent that I thought maybe it had been 20 plus years since I had read the books. Maybe I was imagining the ending to the first book that I had remembered with Rand. And so I texted my friends. I was like, hey, is this actually how the book ended? Am I on drugs that I'm unaware of and I don't remember? I like hallucinated this other ending. And my friend's like, no, you're right. That's how it ends. We're not sure what this is. So it kind of was a little off-putting, and I haven't gone back for the second season. Plus, it's in one of those shows, much like Game of Thrones. It's really dark. Like, really, really dark, you guys. Not a fan of that. Anyway. Yeah, you just couldn't, right? If I ever wanted to know what the China pattern was, consult Robert Jordan. Have I ever been to Colorado? I have. My cousin lives there. Show not good. Agreed. And it is. The books are very good, but you have to be prepared to really be able to focus while you're reading and be prepared for the fact that it is a lot of setup, character development, which is all great stuff, but it's a lot. The Why the Last Man Standing I didn't know they made a Why the Last Man. Okay, Why the Last Man is one of my top 5 comic books. Like, seriously, if you've never read that graphic novel, go pick it up because Abby's right. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. It's a really unique concept. It's heartbreaking and funny and all of these wonderful things. It's written really well. The art is fantastic. I did not know they made an adaptation of it, and I will avoid it at all costs, Abby. Thank you. Also, in my top 5 is Saga, which I think more people are aware of Saga than they are Why the Last Man. Also a very interesting concept, although I never finished Saga. I did finish Why the Last Man. Oh, sorry. I got fiber in my eye. Okay. It was not good. Yeah, read it. It's such a great graphic novel. They changed way too much. Way too much. Maybe be a great version that non-Robert Jordan fans can enjoy, like an editor's cut versus a director's cut. Sort of, except for the parts where it's not that they cut stuff out, it's that they completely changed things and you're like, what? I'm so confused right now. How can you do this if all of this is still supposed to happen? It's like, not that this is what they did, because they didn't, but it's like if you took the main character that's supposed to be the main character through, I don't know, all of a series of books, and in the first book at the end you're like, and he's dead, the end, we'll move on with somebody else. I'm all for changing things to adapt to screen or film. I know that you have to make changes, but sometimes I feel like changes are made because the director or the writers are like, I didn't like the way that this ended, so this is my chance to fix that, and F the author. Is that the French one with the blonde girl and the short-haired boxer? Are you talking about the graphic novel? Been lurking most of the night, not trying to get my eldest ready to head to Phoenix for fall break. That's exciting, Elizabeth. It's good to see you. Robert Jordan multiverse. Oh my God, that would be terrifying. Perrin was not married in the books, but in the series, he's married and his wife was killed. Right? Exactly. Not to give anything away for anybody. Because that's not how it's supposed to happen, so that never happened. At least not, yeah. Wheel Time did the same. I decided not to watch Amazon shows. That's kind of how, I mean, there are some Amazon shows that I'll watch if they're original series. That's fine. Really, I just mostly use my Amazon Prime for movies. And we have most of our other streaming services through there. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I think most of our streaming services are either through Amazon or through Disney Plus. I never read True Blood and I never watched True Blood. Once again, mixed reviews. I've heard good and bad about both. You're laughing too much at all of this. Good. I'm glad to give you a good evening. That's what we're here for. Okay, I'm really quickly, because I don't know if everybody who's here has seen it. We're going to go ahead and go around again, and we're going to show off the label real quickly, the logo for the label for the tea set box set. We're going to show off the color inspiration again. I'm going to go through it much faster than I did this last time. Just so we can get people caught up. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Boss Kitty Live. Thrilled to have you here for the next half an hour or so. We do have a show and tell in our Discord, so make sure you head over there and put something in there because we want to see what you guys are working on. It's one of my favorite things to do, and especially this time of year because I know a lot of you are working on Halloween decorations or costumes and things like that, all the spooky stuff. We have a box set coming out on the 18th. If you are a paid tier patron, you can head over to patreon.com/bosskitty and you can actually pre-order your box set right now. Pre-orders for box sets, by the way, will be open for 1 week. So they will close. They're supposed to close next Tuesday, But I'm going to be nice because we postponed this show. So they will close at midnight on Wednesday the 9th. Midnight PT time. So Pacific time. PT time, P time. Yeah. Pacific time is what I said. Whatever. So midnight on Wednesday the 9th is when the pre-orders for paid tier patrons will close for the tea set box set. What that means, you pre-ordering, it means that your box set will be shipped out on release day or the day after release day. So either on the 18th or the 19th. You will have it in your hot little hands well before that 4 to 6 weeks that most people have to wait. Yeah. It's going to be, so you can, when it becomes available, if you're not a patron, it's going to be available on all of our bases except for mohair. So you can get a Cat's Cradle box set, and it comes with 4 skeins of Cat's Cradle and a skein of kitty glitter. You can get, so 5 skeins total. You can get a BKDK set, BKDK and then BKDK kitty glitter. Like you get those. There is a Pinkies Up edition, and that's our fancy edition, right? So you can get the kitty glitter Pinkies Up edition. So that's everything kitty glitter or everything BKDK kitty glitter, whatever you choose. There is a fiber set. So there is a floof set where you get you get 4 bumps of floof and then the specialty yarn in super floof. The Pinkies Up version is obviously all in super floof. And then if you are a patron as well, a paid tier patron, you have access to the patron exclusive colorway, which will be based off of witch hazel. And that's the thing about this box set, is they are all based off plants that we use for tea. So let me get the logo up first. We'll start there. There we go. Behold the logo in all its adorableness. I love it. I'm terrified if my books are going to be a series. Do it. Just embrace it. Seriously, Panda. So TK has outdone himself again. This is just the beginning. It will change within the label itself, but Pounce is a teapot, and I think that she is the cutest teapot. She's short and stout. There's her handle and there's her spout. When does it go public to the public subscribers on the website? So it will become public to our free tier subscribers on Patreon and to the rest of the community on the 18th when we release it. So to the public, it'll be available on the 18th. But yeah, I love this. I believe that the actual label will have some herbs and, different plant life that's incorporated in it. And then I really want for each of the labels to be dedicated to whatever colorway that is. So we have a witch hazel one I just talked about. The side of that, instead of having the generic blurb, it's not generic, but the blurb that TK makes, I'm going to create a blurb that talks about history and medicinal / magical aspects or properties of witch hazel. So each one of those will have that on it. So you'll have that for that and peppermint and so on and so forth. That's the plan, at least. So there is the label logo, and those only come with the box set, as you are all aware. And then if I pop this bad boy open right here, we can start. There are 6 colorways. 5 of them are for everyone, and then for the community, and then one of them is for patron exclusive. So the first one up is peppermint. It's going to be all greens, different shades of greens. How much is the box set? What a great question. The base set for the 5 skeins on BKDK or Cat's Cradle with the 1 kitty glitter and the 1 BKDK kitty glitter is $150. The I have to go back and look at the prices, but it starts at $150. I believe the floof set is $160. And then you add on the cost for the additional, if you're getting the patron exclusive colorway as well, you would add on the $32 or $34 for the super floof or the kitty glitter yarn. The Pinkies Up, I have to look at the price because it gets bounced up because everything is the specialty yarn or fiber. So we're doing peppermint. It's going to be all nice, lovely, cool, bright yellow greens. I'm very, very happy about that. It's going to be the only one that's just one tone of color, one color way, which is green in some capacity. Valerian root, which is going to have like your light pecan color for the root, and then we've got those lovely buds and flowers that are the purples and mauve colors, and then once again you've got that really live, vibrant greens in there. Earl Grey and Bergamot is going to have your citrus, your dark black tea leaves. You're going to have the lovely petals in there, and then just that lemony color that comes throughout as well. This is the only one where we're basing it off the dried tea and not the plant, because I just felt like it was the best way to do it justice, because it's a mix of different plants. It's one of my favorites. I have not decided which color is going to be the specialty color, which color is going to be the kitty glitter color. It's either going to be the Earl Grey color, or it's going to be the hibiscus color, which you'll see here in a second. Chamomile, obvious choice. It was the first one we came up with. You've got, so the greens in here are a little toned down compared to the peppermint and the valerian root. You've got that really lovely golden rod and true sun gold in there, and then that just bright, stark white for the petals. It's a very fresh feeling color. Hibiscus is going to be the only one that is a gradient in some capacity. And I don't know if it'll be a full gradient or if there'll be speckles in it. Haven't decided that yet, but you are going with dark reds, bright magenta reds, and then you get into those gray, rosy kind of pinks and that pale, pale pink. That is the petals on the hibiscus flower. Because we're going both with the flower itself and then the bud, the husk of the flower, which is what's used in hibiscus tea, and it's how you get that bright fuchsia color. So this or the Earl Grey is going to be the kitty glitter color or the super floof color. It's going to be stunning. It's going to really be a standout color in the set. When is our next show? So again, our next show is not next week. It's the week after that. So it's 2 weeks from yesterday. The next show is going to be on the 14th. Nope, I'm sorry, the 15th. It'll be on the 15th. Whoops, crap. There we go. And then finally, so that's the set for the community. And then if you are a paid tier patron, you will also have access to the additional colorway, which is Witch Hazel. It was voted on by our patron community, and it will have that dark bark color in there. And it might actually be darker than this pecan that's coming through, because if you look at Witch Hazel bark and twigs, they're very dark. But you're also going to have those rustic oranges and burgundies and golden yellows in there. And so I'm in love with this color. I'm so happy this is what you guys went with. And I've said it earlier, it won by a hair. It was between this and Rose Hips. But I really think that this has more of a dynamic look to it. And I think you guys are going to be really happy with it. It's such a lovely autumny tone. So those are our colorways. I'm very excited about them. And I hope you guys are too, honestly. I mean, I'm pumped about this box set. I'm also kind of pumped that it's a normal box set and not a double box set. Can't wait to see all these dyed up. I can't either. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. TK doesn't know I'm going to say anything about this. It is not set in stone yet, but I am 90% sure that I know what the big box set for next spring will be. And since you guys are here, and I love you all, and you are just all so wonderful, and I'm feeling it, I thought maybe I would share that with you. Some of you already know because I've talked to you about it in person. So it'll be our double box set. We always do a really big box set in spring. It's usually 10 to 12 colorways, depending on if you're a patron or not. And you get to choose a lot of them. It's a whole thing. So unless I come up with some severe hiccups for why this won't work, we will be doing a musicals box set. So it will be all colorways inspired by different musicals. Most likely it will be a box set of movie inspired musicals and a box set of stage inspired musicals. Now, some of those have crossover. A lot of those have crossover for sure. And I haven't decided how I'm going to work on that because we're nowhere near there. But this might be the earliest. No, I think I knew really early about the Toil and Trouble box set too. But yeah, it's pretty early. I mean, we don't generally know this early, but yeah, it's going to be musicals because my jazz hands, they can't stop. So, and I think because I'm letting people know early, and if we can make this happen, we can make a whole event of it, right? Like we can hype it up. We can like do patron movie night, because I can't do this publicly because a lot of, but where we can watch the movie together or watch some of the movies together or some of the shows together or listen to the music together. Like we can do all those types of things. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yep. Wicked is an option for sure. And here soon it will be a crossover. I was going to try to drop a Wicked color as the movie came out. However, there's no way to do that because we also have a patron exclusive colorway coming out for the holidays, right? That you guys voted on a few months ago. So that'll be coming out on Black Friday. And if you are a patron, you will be able to order that colorway, which is great. And if you are an annual subscriber at the Hazel's Heroes level, you will actually get that a skein of that mailed to you for free. So there's that. And then if you are, and because we do those twice a year, we do a full skein or full bump of a patron exclusive colorway during the holidays. And then we do one in the springtime that's mini skeins or mini bumps of fiber. I haven't quite figured that part out. So if you are an annual subscriber at the Hazel's Heroes level, you get both of those for free. If you are an annual subscriber at the Cult of Con level, you get the minis for free. So you get the spring one for free. Whew. Why is the box set so expensive? Samantha, that's a great question. So the box set is as expensive as it is because it's 5 skeins of yarn. Our yarn retails for $28 a pop. Plus there's a few extra dollars that are put in there to incorporate the time and effort that I put into coming up with the new colorways and that TK puts in to come up with the new logos, because those take a lot of effort and a lot of time. He spends hours on those and I spend days on the colors. Honestly, he spends days on the logo as well. So that is why indie dyed yarn is the price that it is generally. We haven't really raised our prices on our yarn. Our fiber is about where it should be. We should probably have the yarn up at the same place at the 30 and the 34 mark, or 30 and 36 mark rather, for the Kitty Glitter and the Cat's Cradle and BKDK. I haven't had the heart to do that. But materials have gone up in price. Shipping is very expensive. And then we put a lot of time and effort into it as well. So that's why they're the price that they are. Let's see here. It's 7:10. Let me check real quickly to see just how many lovely people have put some stuff in show and tell. Because if it's full, if we've got a decent group in there, then we'll go over 5 minutes early. Oh, thank you, Panda. I appreciate that. I know that it's a little steep for some people. I totally get that. Absolutely. And that's why we do giveaways. We don't really do full box set giveaways anymore, just because, well, you know what? That's part of being a small business. Let me talk about that while I get Discord open. So we had an accountant for a few years, and that accountant told me that our giveaways that we did were not tax reductions. Like, we couldn't write those off. TK told me differently, but the professional told me that they were not write-offs. So we were not writing them off. You guys know how much yarn we gave away in those first few years and how many gift cards we've given away. Like, it's thousands of pounds, thousands of dollars in marketing that I could have written off that I didn't. I'm amending last year's taxes for sure after I get this year's finished. But yeah, it's an effort for sure, but we still do like to do giveaways. We will do some form of a giveaway during the box set release. It might not be a full box set, but it will certainly be something. Okay. Yeah, there's a good mix in here. So let's, do you do subscriber giveaways? Absolutely, but it won't be a full box set. Okay. So let me go ahead and get into here. Oh, you guys are the sweetest. Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot. Like, when I told TK that they told me that they weren't write-offs, he was like, they are. And this is why I'm doing my own taxes this year. Okay, so we're going to start with crocheted hook. Oh my gosh. Is that a hat? I'm working on Christmas gifts. Finished a hat, the throw that I'm working on, and one of my finished scrunchies. So I wasn't sure if this was a hat or a scarf, but it's a hat, and I'm in love with it. I love how busy this is. I love all of the stripes. It looks like a bumblebee. It's such a fun hat. Oh, it's so cool. And I love the way that the yarn, where you have the wraps, because the yarn kind of goes up. It makes almost a houndstooth look to it. It's so neat. I love it, crochet. Yeah, seriously. Big advertising expenses. So we'll go back and fix that. But here we are. I won the OT box set, and that set was the best quality ever. Oh, thank you. That set, man. Oh, I loved it so much. That set was a labor of love. The marketing for that set was a labor of TK's love. Oh, to this day, that is probably the best release party we've ever done. And then this is the throw she's working on. Your stitch definition as a crocheter is absolutely divine. I love it. You can do a basic color like white and just make it look so elegant. And your scrunchie is so cute. It has Henson and Oz vibes, except for that it's really fuzzy. So it looks like a little Muppet scrunchie. The show will end in about 15 minutes, as soon as we're done with show and tell. JK, why are we doing this? Let's fix this. JK, it's for you. Radish souffle, single, and single angle of eternity. It's interesting in the ply, but I'm not home to share the photo today. So she's taking this very pale mint green color that's got some speckles of orange in it, and she's putting it with Angle of Eternity, which was our super floof. Although I think maybe you got a box. Did you get a grab bag that had non super floof in it? Maybe, I don't remember. But it also has that green in it, so they should work together. She said that it's looking very different than she expected it to. I'm guessing. My guess is that it has a patina look to it, because that's what I think that the green would do with the brassy color. But I could be wrong, so I can't wait to see what it looks like. I got home, I'll go post another picture. Excellent. And then here's the tops of them. This is her Tour de Fleece specialty bobbin that she got for her wheel, and I love it. I'm so jealous of it. I just think it's too cute. Miss Monster, my progress on my current sock whip, and a slightly more color accurate pic from last Friday. Oh, these are beautiful. This is with, if I remember correctly, Gracie's first winter. And is it Packy or Soot? It might be Soot. We don't do Packy anymore, but it's hard to tell. Soot is such a light color in sock weight. Oh, that's so beautiful. This is one of those colors where I'm like, it was just a lovely color, and I don't remember how I made it. Although I think I could recreate, by recreate, I mean make a version of it for fiber, and I might, because it's just the grays that come through in here with the blues and the purples. This was back when we were still doing holiday colors for everybody. It's just beautiful. These are gorgeous. Oh, they are for sure. Can't wait to see the plaid yarn. Yeah. Here's a picture of a tree that I made at day program. Oh, I love it. It's an apple. It could be an apple tree. It could be a cherry tree. So I like that you put the little divot up here so that it's got some shape. Miss Elizabeth making spa sets. Ooh, that's a great idea. Pumpkin and candy corn I made at the crochet class at the library. I love this. You've got the little scrubbies for your face and a body scrub and then washcloths. That's brilliant. And then you can like do some fancy soaps with it, and that's a great gift. I might actually steal this idea for holiday gifts this year. Thank you. Thanks for that. Oh my goodness, they're too cute. I love making pumpkins because they just look like blobs until you put the string around them, right? Like yarn around them to give them their bulge. And then they're just the cutest thing. I love his little leaf. But my favorite is your candy corn. I like that he's got some stitches on his side and a wobbly little smile. He's too cute. Good job. Steal away. One braided super floof. Okay, and the radishes flew. Okay, got it. You don't have the patience for socks. I just ran from my parents' camper over to mine to do that. That's amazing. Sammy Crochet, here's a picture of some cupcakes at Bingo Planet. Awesome. Oh, look at that. They are autumn colored cupcakes. They look like our witch hazel colorway. Oh, for your birthday. Well, happy belated. Panda, haven't had time for anything since I've been spending all my time making a special edition of my first novel, as well as getting a Kickstarter together to fund the fancy foil and sprayed edges, bookmarks, magnets, character art, and hopefully the audiobook. You guys, if you haven't checked her book out yet, do it. It's amazing. I haven't finished it because I've been so busy, but what I have read has been fantastic. This is beautiful. I have to ask, did you do all the art? Because I will not be surprised if you say you did. And if you did, at some point in my life, I might commission you, if you're up for it, to do some character art for me, because I'm a big nerd and I love having character art from my D&D characters. I was in Boise for a bit and going to Northern Idaho for a festival tomorrow. Ooh, have fun with that. I liked Idaho. It wasn't terrible. By the threads of fate, a labyrinth of magic is woven and destinies entwined. This is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Woohoo to Libra seeds. That's right. Happy birthday month to Miss Elena. Now I have to wait for book 2. Poor yarn pirate. Fox Goddess, my first plying on the electric wheel. I'm so freaking happy with your floof. Thank you. All my mistakes evaporate. Pick 2 is my last skein of Red Heart Bright Stripes. making a zombie kitty for a Xmas present. And pick 3 is hand spun yarn that I forgot I had from an IG gal who I think went out of business. Such a great little set. Oh, I love it. This is beautiful. I love when people start to spin on wheels and stuff like for the first time because you get really chunky yarn. And I feel like at some point in your brain, you stop making chunky yarn because your brain says that you've got to make that money last, right? But I love chunky yarn and I love seeing people make chunky yarn. And this, you have such an even ply here. Oh, this is stunning. Good job. Fox Goddess, seriously, that's just superb. Oh, I love this color. I don't use Red Heart anymore because when I was a kid, younger, I used it. It was really scratchy. Is it still scratchy for an acrylic or have they upped their game? Because their color is amazing. Like this is fantastic coloring. Oh, these are beautiful. I'm sad to hear that she went out of business. I'm really digging this one in the front, the really light one, and then the really dark one in the back. I love those two. I've never sold my hand spun. I know I'm supposed to get some out to you guys for free. I've got to get the shipping. I've got to get those shipped out. I'm so sorry. There's 2 of them. We've just been really crazy busy and I haven't had a chance to do it. But I feel like it would just be so priced so high because of the time and energy that goes into it. Hi, TK. You're not going to bed, are you? You just came in to give me kisses. That makes me so happy. Love colorful chunky yarn. Bubbles, Doppio sweater is done. Woot woot. My pink fizz is finally back on the needles. I'm halfway through the second sleeve, but this picture is from yesterday. And I also finished my gold branch cowl and my hand spun BK floof. I love trash color. Oh, I love trash colorway. Derp. It looks amazing. And I can't wait to see you wear it because you always look so great in your sweaters. Oh, that blue is wonderful. And this is phenomenal. You're just so fast. Like, I'm so proud of myself for speeding through this sweater. And you're like, look at this sweater and sweater and sweater. I'm so impressed by you, Bubbles, every single day. Okay, OBK, PS, for all the little spinners, I recently learned the tension spring cord and all needs flipped around when you ply. So the turn drags. Oh, I did not know that either. That is good to know. And so, oh man, okay. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Good. And then this is the gold branch cowl in the handspun. I love trash colorway. Oh, it's beautiful. You did such a great job with this spin. The stitch definition, I just can't get over it. And for somebody who hasn't done a lot of spinning, like my little heart and mind are just blown to pieces in all the right ways. I hope you're enjoying it. Speed knitter, that's me. You really are for reals. Renee, major case of cast-on-itis. Here are 3. First is the Boneyard shawl. Second, not sure if it'll be the Aurora shawl or the Afghan. And the third is the start of the Tosta tank. So we're going to start with the Boneyard shawl. I love the name of that, by the way. Love the color. This is so fun. Oh my gosh. And then this is the either shawl or Afghan. Beautiful colors here too. I really like how that grayish blue, that steel, just kind of drapes almost like hematite beads. I know that sounds weird, but that's what it reminds me of. It's just a string of hematite beads throughout the piece. I think it's beautiful. And then you're working on the Tosta tank. Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. What colorway is that? I love your stitch definition. Are you using a basic rib stitch here? Or are you doing a fisherman's rib, twisted rib? I don't know what you're doing, but it's really lovely. It looks very squishy, and I love seeing that in a finer yarn for a rib stitch because it's hard to get a really squishy rib stitch in a fine yarn. Oh, right back at you, Samantha. Angel of Hope was inspired by a viewer to dye yarn with leftover egg dye. Brilliant idea. The one on the left was from dyeing eggs. The right was with tablets straight up. Pick 2 is a cowl using the dyed yarns with tablets. Haven't taken a picture of scarf using the lighter version. So the one on the right was tablets straight up. So the brighter one, and the left was from dyeing eggs. Excellent. Oh, these are beautiful though. Like you've got these really vibrant colors. And then I love the pastel. I don't usually love pastels, and I know, pastels, because that's usually what the name of those dye sets are. But this pastel color is just beautiful. Oh, they both are. This is so gorgeous. And you get to wear it proudly because you dyed it. Like there's something really great about that feeling. That was a great stitch for it. It really was. 1x1 rib, and it is I Love Trash. It is I Love Trash on Cat's Cradle. Okay, so we're going to go back to it for a second. I try hard not to assume my yarn because you never know. And then I feel pretentious and like self-absorbed. But I was like, I think that's I Love Trash. I didn't want to say it. It looks so good. I love it. I think this is the first time I've seen the yarn knit up on anything. So check this out, you guys. We'll go back to show and tell in here in a second. But this is I Love Trash in the yarn versus I Love Trash on the fiber. Number one, this is part of hand dyeing. Things change. Also, different material, different type of fiber content. So this has more of a yellow tone to it, right? But you can tell there's a drastic difference because this is spun. So it might look the same or similar in the fiber bump itself, but once it's spun up and plied or whatever you're going to do with it, it is not going to look like the yarn does, right? It becomes its own creation. You take this thing that I make, this piece of art that I make, and you make it into your own art. And then you make it into another piece of art, which is just so cool. The same way that you take art I make and you make it into art like this, right? It's just the neatest. I love crafting tools that are created because you guys get to take something. It's like a round robin of an artistic adventure, I guess is a good way to put it. I think it's a good way to put it. Sammy Crochet, this is my finished granny squares that I did for Billy at the Crafty Floridan for Boggy Creek. Oh my gosh, these are great. It's you got really nice even edges on there. Oh, and your center is perfect. Miss Pixie Punk, house kind of flooded before the hurricane hit. Oh my gosh, are you guys okay? I don't know who's in the Florida area or the East Coast or anything like that. So if you're over there, I hope you're okay. So I haven't gotten a good amount of crafting done. Excuses over. 1 and 2 hexagonal top, reversible. Test to see if I want to make it in some of the kitty litter I have in a stash. 3 is my chamomile and 4 is my peppermint. Perfect. So I don't know what yarn you're using for this. It's beautiful. It reminds me of Starry Night. Like I'm sitting here looking at it. I was like, is this supposed to be a Starry Night shirt? It's really neat. I love it. I love the look of it. I particularly love the multicolored yarn up at the top, the lighter color. But the way that it's set, it made me think of Starry Night. Hi, Michi. How are you? Yay! And you got to see the logo because it was in the Patreon page as well as the color tones. Yarn Pirate. Oh, wait. So here's the chamomile. Beautiful. I might come back to these pictures. And your peppermint. Also lovely. Look at those babies go. Growing the stuff in the office. Way too hot outside. Yarn Pirate. No crafty updates because I'm in Texas. Ooh. But I saw this awesome Kokedama forest at the Botanic Gardens today. Technically a fiber art because they use thread to wrap the moss ball. Oh my gosh. What exactly? I don't know what this is. I have no idea what a Kokedama forest is. They're beautiful though. I'm going to have to look into this. This is really neat. Like, look at this, you guys. It's just geometrically so cool looking. I'm glad to hear you're okay. Good. Whew. I don't have any crochet projects currently. JK, oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. So this is, remember we were talking about radish souffle and angle of eternity? This is what it looks like plied up. And it does kind of give it a patina look. Not the way that I thought it would, though. You are right. I think it's beautiful. It really tones down both colors significantly. And I'm really blown away by how much green is in that brass color. Like it brings the green that's in that brass monkey color, because that's what the base is. It really brings that green out. And the radish souffle makes the rose color pop on the green sections. That's lovely. Little moss balls. The Starry Night was why I went with the spiral hexes. Muse 2320 from the sci-fi fiber thing. Awesome. There's sort of a bonsai growing out of a moss ball, but this artist put a whole bunch of them on a metal scaffolding to make a whole forest. That is so cool. Moss balls. I can't wait to see how it evolves. Haha. Also, way to go on book writing. My brain hasn't written or read much for the last 16 years. Baby ruins brains. Seriously. Michi, been sick with the viral infection. Oh, I hope you're feeling better. Been making pumpkins and designing a baby blanket. You're designing a baby blanket. Okay, it's beautiful. I am a texture girl. I love textures, and there's so much going on this. I also love the colors you've chosen. It's just so, it's very, I know it's not finished, but it feels very vintage looking to me. Very retro, very vintage. I can't wait to see it. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Okay, and then we've got these pumpkin balls. They are adorable. Do they have little cinnamon sticks for the tops? I love when people do those. And your colors are great. Like, it's such a fall look, even with the pink in there. It's so cozy. Renee, okay, had to post another. This is my first Tosta in I Love Trash and an Orphan. I love it so much, and it's such a joy to wear that I had to start another. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I love how I Love Trash turned out. You know what's really funny about that Orphan? That Orphan was an OG I Love Trash color, and we decided that it was too dark. I didn't want to go that route, so I went a different route. So the fact that you put them together is fantastic because they have the same root and idea behind them, and they work really well, and they look lovely on you. Oh my gosh. I gotta tell you guys, I feel like this might be one of the best show and tells we've had in a really long time. There was such a different plethora and array of different types of crafting in there and colors that you guys used. And I always love seeing what you do with your throwbacks and with the old box sets that you've received. It feels like Ivy League New England University. It's such a nice stash. Oh yeah, it's very beautiful. Elizabeth's right. You guys are just so amazing and all over the place. And yes, if you are near the hurricane or it's affected you or your family, my thoughts are with you, and I hope that you're okay. Obviously, if you're here, you must be doing okay-ish, at least. I'm really excited for this box set, you guys. I hope you are too. Once again, if you're a paid tier patron, so you can go over to patreon.com/bosskitty, and you can sign up at the Zuzu's Zealots level, and that's only $1 a month. I mean, you don't have to be the $5, $10, $25 a month level. We appreciate that, but really, you just have to be at the dollar level a month. You will have access to the early release or the pre-orders for the box set. Those are going on right now. They will go on until midnight next Wednesday, Pacific time. Those will go out. They will ship out on the 18th and the 19th. The 18th is the day that we are going to release the box set to the public. We will also have our release party. Our next show will be on the Tuesday before the 18th, so the 15th. Yep, the 15th of October. And then again, if you are a patron, paid tier patron, we will have a craft night on October 22nd. So that'll be after the release party and everything's calmed down, and we can just have a chill craft night right before Halloween. We will not be doing a Halloween show this year. The release party will be our Halloween show, basically, which makes sense. I mean, it'll be on the 18th. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really excited. So make sure that, this next show that we have coming up when we do show and tell, make sure that you've got your spooky stuff in there that you're working on, because I cannot wait to see it. Remember, Discord is always open for chat and to show off things throughout the week. It doesn't have to just be through a show. The community there is absolutely phenomenal. We also have a patron exclusive colorway coming out for Black Friday in November. It is our Halloween color that they voted on about a month or two ago. So if you are a paid tier patron, you will be able to purchase that colorway. It's exclusive to patrons. If you are an annual patron at the Hazel's Hero level, you will get a skein of that for free. I do believe it's only going to be available on, I think, kitty glitter and I'm not sure. I have to talk to TK if we're going to do it on all bases. I don't know why we wouldn't do it on all bases. We'll probably do it on all bases except for mohair. The free skeins will be either Floof or Cat's Cradle or BKDK. It'll be one of the standard bases instead of one of the higher end specialty bases. Yeah, so we'll send those out in November, but you guys are amazing. Seriously. I'm so glad you like the logo. I'm glad you guys like the color inspiration. You are such a supportive community. It's just great. And if you are, I forgot to tell you guys, if you're local to the Pacific Northwest, TK has a thing that he has taken on himself, and I'm very proud of him and excited for him. We're all a bunch of nerds here. He is a huge comic nerd, old school comic nerd, and he's putting together a Willamette Valley swap, a comic book swap, but it's a comic book sci-fi toys TTRPG type swap. So it's not a bunch of pop culture stuff. It's the heart of nerdism, right? That'll be next year. It's going to be on May 31st. But if you are in the area and you want to be a vendor at that, the tables are $50. Reach out. I can get you the link to the website for that because they went on sale yesterday. They're going fast. There's not a lot of that type of stuff here in our community, so we're trying to get that started around here. Anyway, I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful week. I will see you all in 2 weeks' time. And until then, as always, my loves, you know what? I don't want to say happy crafting. I want you to happy craft, but yeah, fuck it. Happy crafting. Good night, guys.